A very good morning and a very warm welcome to StudyIQ, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mahabani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 13th March 2020. Day is Friday. On our table, we have one editorial on road safety. It's talking about Motor Vehicle Act. I'm going to share some of my experience, my observation with you guys, and I'm sure it will help you understand this topic very well. Then we are going to jump on to this article, which is written by Chinese ambassador to India. He's talking about coronavirus. Then we have this article written by former national security advisor. He's talking about Delhi riots and who are the people responsible for it, or stakeholders who are responsible for it. Fourth one is going to be this one. Should distressed private banks be saved by public sector banks? We have opinions from two different experts. And then you have these two articles, The Cost of Opacity and Not a Time to Panic. Both these articles are about coronavirus. Nothing new in it, right? Apart from few figures of its spread and a few figures of the number of countries where you are finding evidences of coronavirus. So I'm going to leave these two articles, this one and this one. These two articles, you can help yourself with it, right? You don't need my support to understand these articles. I have a question though for you guys. Can you give me the name of these three countries who are highly affected by coronavirus? I'm not talking about China. Ignore China. After China, which are the three countries which are highly affected by coronavirus? Stick your answer in the comment section. Now, before we move on, dear friends, I would like to inform all of you about our pen drive and tablet courses, which are designed by the best faculties of our country. They are available for various different competitive exams. As you can see on your screen, more information is available on our website, that is studyiq.com. You can place an order for your pen drive and tablet course from our website. And if you have any further queries, if you want to discuss more things about it, then you can give us a call on the numbers that you can see on your screen. To download the PDF of today's lecture, you have one source, and that is my Telegram channel. To get in touch with me, if you have, let's say, queries, doubts, then you can get in touch with me via FB page, right? And please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So first one, danger ahead. Nitin Gadkari has expressed optimism that significant amendments made to the Motor Vehicles Act have begun reducing the terrible death toll due to accidents on India's roads. Good thing, right? As far as theory is concerned, Motor Vehicles Act is quite robust. As far as practicality is concerned, I don't think so. I don't thoroughly agree with our minister, and there is a reason behind it as well. One of the main reason is lack of proper implementation. I'll give you a small example, right? First of all, let us understand that Government of India came out with this Motor Vehicle Act. As far as implementation is concerned, it is the responsibility of various different states, right? They have to implement this Motor Vehicle Act. Now, they can do a little bit of plus and minus. They can make necessary changes as per their requirement. And this is, I think, the main problem here. I'm going to explain why this is a main problem. Like, customization is okay, but you don't need customization in everything. If you're adding things, then that's something that is acceptable. But here what we find is there are a few states. For example, I'll give you example of state of Gujarat. When this Motor Vehicle Act came out, Gujarat was very strict as far as wearing helmets. I'm just give you example of helmets here, right? There are other things as well that we can talk about, but I'm just going to give you one example, and with the help of that, you can understand or you can get an idea about our country as far as this riding motorcycles and using roads are concerned. So Gujarat was very strict initially, and people were not happy. There are a few districts in Gujarat, like say for example Ahmedabad. The people of Ahmedabad are somewhat used to with wearing helmets, because before this latest MVA, people were following, or most of the people, they used to wear helmets while riding motorcycles or two-wheelers. but other districts are not that much used to with wearing helmets. So when this MVA came out, this latest one, right, things were a bit difficult. It was a sort of you can say a wake up call for the people. It created basically a disturbance, and because of these cameras and heavy penalties, people started using or wearing helmets, and there was a bit of revolt as well. People were not that happy. But anyway, a behavioral change was visible, and the time like people were getting used to with it. People were basically, many people accepted this fact that this is for the betterment of for it is for us, right, that government is coming out with this sort of rules, and people started accepting this thing. And all of the sudden the government decided that now it's going to remove this rule of wearing helmet in city area. So there are so many people, the behavior was getting there slowly, means there was a visible change in people's behavior, and then government changed the law altogether. So this is the thing, and within a district as well, you will find in the city area, people will follow all the rules and regulations because they have to, because you have cameras and other things. But in village and in town area, you don't have to wear helmets because you don't have those sort of cameras and all those facilities over there. So I'm not that much optimistic about when it comes to these figures. And to be honest as well, there is not that big difference when it comes to death figures, death toll. Every year in our country, we find some 1.5 lakh people, they lose their lives on our roads. Indian roads are one of the most dangerous roads in the world. Back in 2001, this 1.5 lakh was down at 80,888 approx. And particularly after 2015, we can see 1.5 lakh per year. Roughly 4.5 lakh people, they get severe injuries every year on roads, and can you imagine those small injuries? So Indian roads are not that safe at all. And we are afraid about coronavirus, and there is a big hype about coronavirus, but more people die on our roads than coronavirus. More people are dying every year in our country. Around 8,000 plus people die every year because of just potholes, right? Terrorism is not big threat for our country when you compare it with potholes. So motor vehicles load does, it means they when it comes to muscles, theoretically, yes, it has muscles, but when it comes to practicality, no. Then scientific road system. Do we have scientific road system? No. There are so many black spots. Black spots are those accident prone areas, and there are so many within societies as well. You have this lack of planning is clearly visible. And when it comes to highways as well, we find even on those highways where you pay heavy tolls, right? I have observed this thing, and I'm sure you too might have observed this thing, that this is, let's say, 3 lanes, right? And you find this is, let's say, this is divider here, and then you have this other lanes or the other side of the road. So you find there are so many people, right? They break these dividers, and they are using this way to change roads, and this is very dangerous. And this sort of things are going on. So authorities who are responsible for maintaining this and checking these things, it's not going that well. So what we need to do, as per the suggestion of this editorial, is that we need to create this triangle where we have collector, we have local body, and police. We have to make them accountable. And we can also make this dashboard cameras mandatory. It's not that expensive nowadays, and this can be used for claim settlement. It can be used for finding out whose fault it was exactly. And we should have at least a robust ambulance or medical facility, good hospitals, cashless, free treatment. People should not be afraid of helping other people, accident victims. They should be educated about, not just about rules and regulations, about indicators and other things, but we should also train our people about helping others when it comes to road accidents, safety. We pay for seat belts, but we are not using it, isn't it? We pay for Bluetooth system that we have in our cars, but we are not using it whilst having a chat or having a conversation over the phone. There are easy solutions available. You have this wireless Bluetooth headsets are available, isn't it? Hands free. But people, they don't use it because sab chalta hai sort of thing is going on. But so many families, right, they get destroyed by this road accidents. People, youngsters doing stunts and, riding too fast. Not just riding, but driving as well, cars as well as motorcycles on in city areas, in societies. This sort of people, they should be punished. And getting a license is not that difficult in our country. And driving license rules and regulations, it's basically a license to kill. Once you have this driving license, as far as you have insurance, no one will get if you're not drunk, then you will go, you can scot free, nothing will happen to you. So this is something that is not acceptable, and government should seriously think about implementing it properly. Then let's talk about fighting COVID-19 together for a shared future. As I told you, this article is written by Chinese ambassador to India, and we know very well that this coronavirus outbreak is a major public health emergency. The good thing about this article is it's talking about the way China has handled this whole issue. Now, President Xi Jinping has personally taken charge, and I'm sure you might have watched Mr. Xi Jinping attending meetings, and it was quite visible around the media, on social media and other places. So basically he's creating this awareness. He knows that he can drag attention, so he's using himself to create awareness about this coronavirus. On 10th March, President Xi went to Wuhan, the capital city of Hubei province, and the epicenter of epidemic, to inspect prevention and control work. He paid respects to frontline workers and local residents, and I'm sure this visit might have motivated all those frontline workers. This has greatly encouraged and inspired the people of Wuhan and the whole nation. Now, Mr. Ambassador is talking about 7 points. Let's quickly go through it. What China did. It formulated timely strategies for epidemic prevention and control. Number 2, strengthened a unified command and response in Wuhan and Hubei. Coordinated the prevention and control work in other regions. Number 4, strengthened scientific research, emergency medical and daily necessity supplies. 5th, effectively maintained social stability. And 6th one is strengthened public education. And the last one, actively engaged in international cooperation. Now, I was talking about some big challenges. The bigger the difficulties and challenges, and this one was this, of course, the coronavirus is an uncharted territory. We don't know how to, we don't have medicine. Today's newspapers, they are saying that it will take nearly 2 years' time for us to get a medicine for this coronavirus. So this was a big challenge, and he is talking about, this line is basically talking about the spirit of Chinese people. A few days ago, we were talking about this thing, isn't it? That a thing that is spreading wildly, rather means more than coronavirus. What is that thing? That thing is fear. Sheer panic and fear. Now, it is the spirit of that society or people, and this is my own personal opinion. I strongly believe that if people are ready to unite with each other, if they are ready to do the things that are necessary, or the things that we believe are necessary. For example, not spitting on the road, not littering here and there, not if you are coughing and sneezing, then making sure that you will stay at your home rather than going out for work. And if whatever work you can do from your home, you can do that thing. You will get that flexibility. If you are not feeling well, then these are the things that you can do to make sure that other people are not affected. And this is possible when people, cooperate, when they listen to what government is trying to tell them, when they listen to the authorities, and if they follow the orders that are coming from authorities, then you will see a positive result. And this is the spirit of Chinese people. And these are the things that we can learn from Chinese people, that the bigger the difficulties and challenges China faces, the more cohesion and fighting spirit the Chinese nation demonstrates. In today's, if you see world leaders call, what they have said is they have talked about cooperation, they have talked about unity, and this is very important. This is a very positive sign of Chinese people, that they are bracing themselves and they are, standing tall, and they're ready to do whatever it takes to fight against this coronavirus. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres described China's sacrifice in fighting and containing the spread of COVID-19 as a great contribution to all mankind. China and India have maintained close communication and cooperation. We have helped China. We have supplied some medicines as well, and China is, happy about this thing. China has also helped India for extracting our Indian nationals who are living in this province. And here you have one more important point from this article, that the history of civilization is also one of a history of fighting diseases and a great journey of ceaseless global integration. If we go through our past, when I say our past, I'm talking about human beings, right? I'm talking about various different civilizations. And different civilizations, they have fought against this various different diseases and various different challenges. And the best way to defeat these challenges and diseases is to stand tall and is to fight against them in unity. Of course, you have to cooperate with each other. So, very interesting article, very important article, and President Xi Jinping has said that to prevail over a disease that threatens us all, unity and cooperation is the most powerful weapon. The world is facing a real threat, as WHO characterizes COVID as an pandemic, and China will strengthen international coordination and cooperation, and jointly safeguard our only home, the blue planet, together with the world. Let's move on to next item. This article is written by Mr. Narayan, N.K. Narayan to be precise, and he is a former National Security Advisor. He writes articles on various different topics, mostly on security, mostly for this paper, The Hindu. So what went wrong in Delhi? Now, he is talking about this collective failure, and he is right as well. I think I agree with him that the root cause of this violence was a collective failure of all stakeholders. When I say stakeholders, I'm talking about government of India, I'm talking about Delhi government, or AAP government to be precise, judiciary, police machinery, and of course people. All of them are directly, indirectly responsible for this violence that took place in Delhi. Many of them are comparing this violence with 1984's Sikh riots. But the major difference is Sikh riots were all of the sudden, there was a bubble burst. But here, there was a slow burn that was going on for a very long period of time. Right after this, passage of Parliament, passage of the CA from this Parliament, we saw this slow burning taking place in various different cities, universities in Delhi, some places in Mumbai, Chennai, Bengaluru. So the question is what IB was doing, Intelligence Bureau. If we go through the statements of judges of Supreme Court, K.M. Joseph has said that the timely action by Delhi police could have saved lives. One former judge of Supreme Court has argued that had the judiciary been more proactive, lives lost in recent violence could have been saved. And then we have altogether different opinion from Chief Justice of India, Sharad Bobde, and he says that courts were not equipped to handle palpable pressure being created to somehow step in and prevent violence. So judiciary is also directly, indirectly responsible, as you can see from these three statements. Provocations from both sides of the political divide thus largely fanned the violence, and this is right. BJP leaders, they have said things that are not right. Opposition parties, their leaders, right, they have said things that are not right. Those people who are with CA or who are supporting CA, who are against CA, we find some of them have misbehaved. Their statements were not healthy, and because of this thing, we saw this getting this more fuel. This fire got more fuel. The Home Minister is reported to have kept himself abreast of the situation in northeast Delhi, but seemed to have done little else. The Chief Minister's failure to apply the necessary balm to try and contain the situation has certainly stained his image. And in security and law and order parlance, intelligence and police constitute the vital last 10%. What was IB doing? What was police doing? Right? Provocations were going on, but they did little to prevent these leaders because of maybe political interference, maybe political bosses were issuing these wrong statements. And Delhi's shame is certainly India's shame. What has happened in Delhi is going to, it has in fact dented the image of our country, and particularly for a police force of a capital. Right, it is a matter of shame that they were not able to stop this whole issue. Moving on to next item: should distressed private banks be saved by public sector banks? So you have this question here: that is a bailout of a failing private lender by a public sector bank justified, and if so, on what grounds? The thing is that the first option should have been private investor. Now, this is, as we have discussed earlier on, that from last 2 years, things were not going right with this Yes Bank. And it was trying to get some private investors, but it was not able to get private investment. And this is one of the main reasons that after 2 years, RBI has to step in. Now, RBI means first step should have been private investor. This did not happen, so RBI did give some time to Yes Bank management, and finally this SBI took over, or is going to take over. The next option is this one, right? This writers, they are claiming, or they are saying, in their opinion, the best option now is to nationalize Yes Bank. But this is not possible because government is facing severe fiscal constraint because of lack of revenue, lack of transaction, lack of GST, means shortage in GST collection, drop in direct tax collection and things like that. So, and of course we have slowdown phase, and then you have this tariff war impact, and now we have coronavirus impact. So government is not having that much revenue. So that is something that is not possible, and I think this is one of the main reason why SBI has said that it is going to take over 49%, and it is also having a chat with RBI. In fact, is having a discussion with nearly half a dozen investors, big names. They are, as per RBI's statement, these big names are ready to invest in this Yes Bank. Then we have the second question, that there are other companies, they fail, right? Why is it only bank? When it comes to a bank, government is ready to do everything that is possible. The main reason is that this is not a small bank that we are talking about. The balance sheet size of Yes Bank is 3.5 lakh crore rupees, so it's a big business. The second thing is interconnectedness. If this bank will go down, it will take with it various different businesses as well, and this will create a shock in our economy. So this is one of the main reasons that government will not allow a bank to fail that easily. It will do everything that is possible to make sure that this bank is protected. And then you have direct and indirect jobs that will get affected. And SBI management, this here it talks about this SBI management, that if there was a choice, then definitely SBI will not, or would have not stepped in. But the chairman and managing director has said that it is about country's interest, and this is the main reason why SBI has stepped in or agreed to protect this bank. As far as non-performing assets are concerned, when it comes to PSBs, the figure is 12.7, which is alarming. Of course, it's in double digit, and the things that we need to do is governance, improve governance, cross-bank and cross-institutional issues. When I say cross-bank, this article is talking about public sector banks as well as private banks, right? Though we have those type of what do we say, this owners or founders who treat this sort of banks and companies like these companies are their private companies. These companies are private, they are limited companies, public limited, right? They means people have invested in your company, so you cannot behave like the sole owner. You have to follow rules and regulations. So this is a governance issue that we find with private banks. So this needs a bit of a repairing. And that's basically everything. Then you have these two questions like SBI, ICICI, HDFC. Earlier on, only these banks were considered big banks, too big to fail. But small banks are also important, and as we have already talked about, interconnectedness is one of the most important thing. If you have 3-4 small banks, if they fail, then they can bring down a big bank and they can create a big shock in your economy. As far as NCERT courts are concerned, we have 2,000 plus cases that are pending over there, and we find new cases are added. So proper governance, making sure that things we don't have that culture or creating those sort of things that will prevent, or that will basically create a big pile in NCLT courts. So proactive steps like proper governance will make sure that that companies, banks and companies, they don't default. So these are the proactive steps that we need to take to repair all those loopholes that we find, all those issues that we have, not just with banks but with private companies as well. And that's basically everything. And then you have this news items on your screen. India's first COVID-19 death in Karnataka. Cases touch 74. Sensex drops 2,919 points. Delhi declares COVID-19 an epidemic, and schools, colleges and cinemas are shut now. MP, that is Madhya Pradesh Speaker, serves notice to 13 rebel MLAs. CBI seeks maximum punishment for Sengar. Is involved in this Unnao rape case. No minister to travel abroad in coming days, has been said by Prime Minister. Bills on bankruptcy code and mineral law gets Rajya Sabha's nod or green signal. And last one is social media platforms to be made accountable, has been said by government. And that's basically everything in today's discussion, dear friends. I will see you soon with daily financial news analysis. Enjoy your studies. God bless you all. Jai Hind.